Quite a day, as I said earlier, here on Sky Sports already. There's plenty to come. Live football from Hampden at 8 o'clock, Scotland, Finland. Show you highlights from the World Cup cricket final between England and Pakistan a little later. Right now, let's settle down, go to Prague. In a moment or so, we'll hear from our match commentator, Martin Tyler.
Welcome to Prague. The national anthem here has a Czech part and a Slovak part, which is why it's on the lengthy side. Czechoslovakia's response to 3 international defeats in a row is to regroup the core of their 1990 World Cup squad. They're now spread far and wide across Europe, of course. West Ham's Ludek Mikloško in goal. 2 others with English connections, Luboš Kubik and Ivo Knoflicek, who both defected to Derby County 4 years ago. But the local fans here absolutely delighted that Thomas Skuravi, whose last match was at Anfield, of course, last Wednesday, that he is fully fit from his knee problems that have dogged him all season. He is very much the hero of Czechoslovakia. Michal Bilek is another who's been recalled, who had a good World Cup. He plays in Spain now. But Skuravi is the star. And Knoflicek, often his partner in crime on the pitch, he now operates in the Bundesliga with Bochum. We are looking at the Czechoslovakian substitutes. Yuri Nemec, who might be remembered with disaffection in Glasgow because he scored a goal here in the European Cup against Rangers, a crucial one. Alexander Wenzel, son of a previous international. And Milan Machala, who is the coach in succession to Josef Venglos. A marked improvement in the weather today. Yesterday's downpour had us all wondering what rain rules might apply here. But it is cold, hardly weather in keeping with the first week of spring. It's been something of a day of patriotism for Englishmen here already, with the Football Association making special arrangement for the England players to keep in touch with events in Australia. But I can assure you that England playing in a blue strip today has nothing to do with the cricket. It's a commercial choice, and it's very popular with the supporters. Although not, I suspect, with the traditionalists. Here's John Barnes. Graham Taylor with qualification for the European Championships secured, now trying to really put his imprint on the way that his international team plays. Ludek Mikloško, a welcome breather from the worries with West Ham, I'm sure. Back straight after this game to face Leeds United at Ellen Road on Saturday. It's not a very big crowd, I'm afraid. The locals have been complaining that there are too many big games around in Czechoslovakia at the moment, with the club sides doing well in Europe. There's Kula playing the ball into the feet of Skuravi, and Martin Keown. That's Skuravi's side, and that's the way it's likely to stay. A lot of talk about England operating with the three central defenders, but Graham Taylor usually decides in the outcome of their particular roles on what the opposition actually offer in the opening minutes. At the moment, Gary Mabbott is keeping an eye on Knoflicek, and it's Keown on Skuravi with Walker free. This is Bilek. Knoflicek making a forward run. Number 9 is Lubos Kubik of the excellent left foot. You might remember a free kick he struck past David Seaman, who's back in the England goal today, of course, when the sides last met at Wembley 23 months ago now. 4-2 to England in a game that will be remembered as Paul Gascoigne's match. Certainly elevated him from the list of Bobby Robson's possibles to a certainty for the subsequent World Cup finals. Here's Barnes, Pearce ahead of him. And he'll get to this. Haitley hunting in the centre. And Glonek doing the clearing. An indication of the changing political order in Czechoslovakia. England have been based in a hotel, luxurious even by Western standards, which until 2 years ago was the headquarters of the Communist Party. Pearce shaping for the throw. Haitley waiting by the near post. It might just get to him too. And Czechoslovakia haven't cleared the danger yet. They might now. With a header from Hovanec. And here's their captain, Němeček. As he came forward, then David Rocastle, who had found himself on this near side following the long throw, was in a rather unaccustomed position in chasing back. He'll have to do that perhaps in his expected job in this formation on the right-hand side. No orthodox right back or indeed left back the way the team is set out. But the game is played on the pitch and not on paper. And here's Kubik. And they won't want to let him get too close with the ball on that dangerous left foot. He came to Derby County with Knoflicek and wasn't able to get the right permit to play. And indeed, it wasn't quite clear at the end whether Derby County, in fact, wanted to sign him. He went on to join Fiorentina in Italy. Lubos Kubik, who had that shot, and now plays in France with Metz. He's the number 9, and his opposite number is Nigel Clough. Getting a tackle in there, and when the England team was announced, there were certainly eyebrows raised as to how perhaps England were going to win the ball in midfield. The creative players in abundance, really. But David Platt made a good point when challenged on the matter that he'd played recently for Bari against Milan, and Milan simply pressed and made mistakes. I'm sorry, forced the opposition to make mistakes. And that's how they got the ball in abundance. Well, we'll see how England make out in that respect. It's Clough's pass looking for his club, and indeed today international captain. There was a suggestion from Brian Clough to Stuart Pearce that he might sit this international out, withdraw from the squad, with the Zenith final coming up on Sunday against Southampton, which of course you can see live on Sky Sports. But Stuart Pearce shook the head. But others have been withdrawn. That's been one of the talking points since we've been in Czechoslovakia, as to perhaps how in future the FA might guarantee that the top clubs do release their players. Graham Taylor lost 10 from his original list. for this and yesterday's B game, which was won by an Alan Smith goal to 0. Here's Clough. Now Rocastle. Not quite on the same wavelength as his club colleague Paul Merson there. Merson coming into this big chance for him, very much in prime form. 4 goals in his last 6 games for Arsenal. The latest, a very imaginative effort at the expense of Leeds on Sunday. It's Kapol losing out to Barnes. Hateley's up with him. And Barnes got past 1, but not past 2. And in the end, he brought down Milos Glonek. Glonek, who plays for the league leaders here, Slovan Bratislava. Free up for Czechoslovakia, and 3 back for England, plus David Seaman, his first international of the season. But it has been made quite clear that we should all continue to regard Chris Woods, despite occasional lapses with his club form, as England's first-choice goalkeeper. Seaman given a chance to brush some cobwebs away at this level. Němeček. 8 of Czechoslovakia's side went to Italy for the World Cup finals. Czechoslovakia got to the quarter-final and lost narrowly to West Germany, you may recall. Knoflicek. Since then, they failed to qualify for the European Championships. In a tough group, they finished second behind the all-conquering French team. Graham Taylor with Rory McMenemy one side, Alan Ball the other. Peter Bonetti also a familiar face on that England bench. Hateley touching it on. And Merson was impeded. The referee, Gerhard Kappel, is from Austria. And in the raincoat is Milan Marchala. An engaging character with more than a smattering of English. Well, England have a huddle around the ball. Barnes and Rocastle masking England's intentions. Clough leaves it. Pearce whacks it. Rocastle on the retreat. Help from Walker. Walker again. Merson pulling to the right-hand side. He is a young man of many parts, Paul Merson, but primarily selected to operate as the attacking partner to Hateley. Oh, it's a great touch from Skuravi, and Kubik was just a little late to react to it. But Keown couldn't make a challenge that time, but Seaman scampered off his line in the nick of time for England. Ten minutes gone here in the Rojitsky Stadium in the Strahov area of Prague. It's a ground that's not used for club football. It's been recently refurbished. All-seater, capacity 23,000. Crowd well below that, I would say probably less than 10. Pearce trying to propel the ball again in the direction of Hateley, who's looking to get in front here. Ball just too long for him. Ball got to it for Czechoslovakia. That's a fine ball from Keown. England filling the centre for Pearce's cross. Bit of miscontrol from Merson. He wants to get involved again here until once more Kubik intervened. Barnes. And again, Merson, as Kadlec comes across. Plays for the reigning champions in Germany, Kaiserslautern. Czechoslovakia not really surprising us with their style of play. With the 5 strung across midfield. 3 defenders behind them, the number 8, Hovanets, who's been loaned back to Sparta by Bobby Robson's PSV Eindhoven. He's a free man, and just the 2 up front with Skuravi and Knoflicek, but as we've seen already, Kubik in particular, very quick to join them from midfield. Pierce. Hapal, who's probably the next to leave the country and pick up a career elsewhere. Been very successful for an unfashionable team here. Sigmar Olomouc, who recently went out of European competition to Real Madrid, but gave them a very hard game. In fact, 2 very hard games. Haitley. Almost 4 years since he last played for England, almost 5 since he last started a game. That was May '87 against Scotland. Almost 6 since he last scored prior to the 1986 World Cup finals in Canada. Skuravi with the quick free kick. David Platt reacting very quickly to that in turn. Platt, who expects to be flown back to Italy in a private jet after the game. They have a big match, Bari, a local derby against Foggia on Sunday. This is Kablets. Looking for Kula, who played a trial match for West Ham last season. But wasn't taken on. Obviously, on the advice of Mikloshko, he was looked at. But has moved to play for Stuttgart Kickers in Germany. Bilek. Skuravi. Nemecek. Brought away by Barnes. And Hapal, the barrier to him. And then Keown bundling into Skuravi. So a free kick to Czechoslovakia. They really do have some dead ball specialists. Hovanets here. Scored from long range in the European Cup a week ago at the expense of Benfica. This is perhaps just a bit too far out, maybe even for Kubik. He's leaving it for him. But he does haul David Seaman into action. Seaman was beaten from closer range at Wembley in April 1990 by Kubik from just outside the edge of the area. After he'd come on as a second-half substitute for Woods that night. He's in from the start here, and at the moment, the busier of the 2 goalkeepers. In the opening 15 minutes, England still trying to bed into this new style. Haitley's won it well. Skuravi. Well, England were caught letting him get goal side of Keown then. But the pass to Knoflicek wasn't as accurate as Skuravi might have hoped for. Rocastle. Now Mabbott. England have just adjusted their marking now, and Walker is taking Knoflicek. And Mabbott just backing off them. Now they reverse the roles again as the game rather meanders on the far side in Czechoslovakia's midfield with Bilek. His flexibility, a word that Ron Atkinson used in the studio prior to the game, that England are very much looking for. Němeček. Here's Hapal. Cadlet's hurdling the challenge of Merson. Well, one back for England by Pearce. Hately. Maybe this is the springboard for a counter-attack with Clough's passing ability, but he's only got Hately to try and hit. Bielik. Always technically and tactically an interesting side to watch, Czechoslovakia. Sometimes they seem to lack the passion needed to be real winners. Barnes, who's certainly got that passion, and I suppose has bordered on greatness for England without really sustaining that level. But he does have a manager here who really seems to understand the John Barnes game, and maybe the John Barnes mind as well. For the moment, his job, Barnes that is to get behind the ball at another free kick. And I stress again, England mustn't continue to commit fouls in this area. They've got a wide range of options, Czechoslovakia. At the moment, Kovnets and Kubik address it. But it's Bielik who can do much better than that. I think Neville Southall will testify to that when Wales played a European Championship qualifying game in Prague, not in the stadium, in the Sparta Stadium 4 years ago. Bielik bent one in. Local time 1 hour ahead of back home in Britain. So the floodlights will start to take effect fairly shortly. But this time yesterday, the ground was shrouded in low cloud. Visibility was very poor indeed. Happily, much better today. This is Hovnets. Now Němeček. Pavel Hapal, wearing number 2 for Czechoslovakia, hooked away by Pearce. Half supporting Hately well, but the header didn't reach him. Němeček intercepting. Oh, Rocastle really has given the ball away. It was a much more difficult pass than the 1 or 2 other options that were available to him at closer quarters. Knoflicek, who is a moody player and is not always sure of his selection, but undoubtedly a player who can win a match at this level. He's earned a free kick. Hovnets quickly across to eye up the angles. Cadlets has joined Skuravi in the centre. Oh, and he's done it! Thomas Skuravi has unhinged England again. And the free kicks were coming with ominous regularity, and Czechoslovakia have got one right here. With 20 minutes gone, hit with pace by Hovnets, flicked on by Skuravi. Inside the post, Czechoslovakia 1, England 0. He came across the line of the ball, and the merest deflection was enough. Skuravi celebrated with his customary somersault. And we'll see now, in terms of character as well as strategy, what England, this England, are made of. Hately. There was a block off the ball, well spotted by the Austrian referee, by Hapal on Pearce, so England with a mirror image of the position Czechoslovakia had, and put to such good use. Straight away a chance to hit back.
It was perfect, there was so.
Yes.
Correct.
Clough takes it, and who clears it but Skuravi. Hoisted up by Mabbutt. It's a test for Mikloshko. Well, he's used to the English style of play, and he was bundled down by Platt. And the free kick given, but Mikloshko, importantly for his teammates, hung on to the ball. Mikloshko being watched by his wife and son on Sky Sports on the outskirts of London. Němeček again. It was Kula who got the ball back to him. Well, Ron Atkinson back in the studio, not a good start for England.
No, I mean, an excellent goal, English-type goal from their point of view, but from here, Martin, it looks as if both sides have got a number of men in midfield. Where the difference is, we're prepared to just sit in midfield, whereas there's another first-class example. They play into Skuravi and then break from the middle of the field. Now, I'd like to see us get a better service into Haitley if we can, either into his feet or, conversely, make progress down the wide positions and sling a few balls in to see what he can do upstairs. I mean, at the moment, there hasn't been much of a service through to either Haitley or Merson, and consequently, we haven't been able to get any play going.
Thanks, Ron. It's a free kick now to England. This is more encouraging. Martin Keown making his way forward. It's a little bit closer than the previous one. Again, Rocastle and Barnes have a look at it as if they're going to set up their version of the wall to try and discomfort Mikloshko. He knows all about Stuart Pearce and indeed Nigel Clough as well. And the referee encouraging England to get on with the game. Well, they've had the opportunity here to rehearse the set plays, although I stress again how dreadful the weather was yesterday, so it wasn't an ideal opportunity, but clearly
it's Knopflicek. That's lovely control by Barnes. Clough in for his speed of thought. Haitley trying to rather barrel his way past Cadlett then. "20 minutes to go to half-time. England trailing to a Thomas Skuravi header. Skuravi, who struck at Wembley the last time the teams met and scored the first goal then. England came from behind to win. Can they do it once more? Haitley! Oh, and it was Merson who tried to flick it goalwards. Knopflicek. Here's Glonek. Skuravi, it's a clever turn. Well, the movement got him free in the first place, then he had to turn. And it was a shot that didn't quite carry the full weight of the left foot, fortunately for England. Here's Bilek. Free kick to Czechoslovakia. Hoverness. Happel trying to come in from the right-hand side. Haitley. David Platt is still troubled, incidentally, by the ankle injury that looked so damaging last month, but you wouldn't notice it at the moment. Oh, it's Merson! It's 1-1! So England have hit back, and Paul Merson, with considerable help from Platt and from some poor Czechoslovakian defending, has scored his first goal for England. Mikloško got to the shot, but couldn't prevent the ball creeping over the line. So England behind for some 7 minutes, and Merson continuing his splendid club form, and indeed his goal record in the last 2 B internationals. 1-1.
Well, the feeling here was that this would be an open, entertaining affair, the way the two teams were set out. And it's panning out that way. Graham Taylor putting his faith in a team without, to use perhaps now an outdated term, a ball winner in midfield. But with a lot of quality in getting the ball forward. And Czechoslovakia playing in front of their own supporters, in need of a win, having lost their last 3. And first Skuravi, then Merson. Where do we go from here? Hoverness. Well, what competition there is now to play as a striker for England. Gary Lineker is a substitute today, and there's nothing sinister in the fact that he's not starting the game. He's been troubled with this minor tonsillitis for a week or so now. But Alan Shearer certainly made his mark against France. There's David Hurst to consider as well. Alan Smith scored for the B team yesterday. Mark Haitley's out here today trying to do his bit. And Paul Merson is now the latest name on the roll of honour of players who have scored goals for England. 15 minutes to go to half-time. Here's Merson again. Merson, who's been describing himself as a reformed character. 3 years ago, he was pondering as to whether he might give up the game, a drastic reaction to disciplinary difficulties, to the demands of First Division football, not fitting in with the way he wanted to run his private life then, but the penny has dropped, and he's getting his rewards. And England have a corner. Have to take it. Keown waiting by the near post. Haitley's in there as well. Platt is very alert should anything be flicked on. Mikloško holding on well. See the vast open spaces here where spectators either haven't shown the inclination or indeed have the financial wherewithal. The prices here 90p to about £1.80. Not fast by British standards, of course, but Czechoslovakia still trying to come to terms with their new free market economy. And the game is being shown locally on television live. But those who haven't turned out are missing a fascinating game. Barnes. Haley's layoff goes astray. Here's Kubik. Knoflicek setting off. Mabbutt trying to match him. Walker going across. Knoflicek beats them both. Skuravi roaring into the centre. And Knoflicek couldn't get the cross in. But Czechoslovakia do have a corner, which Karol Kula will take. The last time David Seaman kept goal for England against Argentina, he was beaten by 2 goals from corner kicks. Wasn't totally his fault, I must stress. Hovanets. Mabbutt coming through strongly. Now Platt getting the better of Kadlec. Merson taking up some very intelligent positions. And the freedom that John Barnes has, allowing him to crop up on the right and bend the cross in. But there was some pushing in there by Platt and possibly by Haley as well. Two Czechoslovakians down, and we must say Czechoslovakians, not just Czechs. There's an air of republicanism around the country with the liberation and the democracy. We are in the Czech part of Czechoslovakia. It was Bohemia and Moravia. It's a shove by Haley. It's amazing to think that Mark Haley now hasn't played in the English league since 1984, earning his living in Italy and France and now Scotland. Skuravi. He really has followed in Haley's style in Italy. Hovanets and Kubik taking charge for Czechoslovakia. Came off the head of Pearce. Only as far as Happel. It's Němeček at the far post, but the header lacked direction. Certainly the playing surface here benefiting from the fact that there's not regular league football played on it. And both sides able to pass the ball well with 10 minutes to go to half-time. Bilek. Just a slight worry for England how they feel they will defend on the right, but they're being challenged on their left at the moment by Happel. He's got the better of Barnes. It's a probing run. The shot, in fact, was going nowhere. Get too far. It took the wind out of Des Walker. Rocastle in the position that Ron Atkinson is fond of denoting as wing-back. I think that's the term used in the game at the moment. Pearce doing the same job for England on the left. Obstruction. England have a player down injured. It's Des Walker in the other half of the pitch at the moment, but the game goes on. And Barnes with a cross headed back by Pearce rather wastefully. Fred Street had gone to the touchline to see whether Walker was in need of treatment actually on the pitch, but He's back on his feet now. And he continues to be England's free man at the back, with Mabbutt taking Knoflicek and Keown Skurabi. Glonek. He's just got his place on the side here. He's played in the previous three, his first three caps. Albonet's close to 50 now, but playing today for the first time for 17 months. Steered forward by Mabbutt. Merson looking elusive again, but the ball ricocheted off Kadlec for Bilek. Kubik. Němeček not picked up by England. Pearce did get back, but not really in time. This is Knoflicek. Happel can line it up. It was the runner from midfield, Václav Němeček, who first of all broke England down. And they were struggling from then on and were helped in the end only by the fact that Happel's shot veered extravagantly off the outside of his right foot. And very nearly took out the camera behind the goal. Kadlec. Played off well by Kubik to Happel, and now Němeček. Skurabi turning Keown unfairly. It's quite a task for Martin Keown in only his second game. Skurabi is a handful. Barnes. Such a spectacular today for you on Sky Sports. The Cricket World Cup final, 2 live international football matches. Could hardly ask for more. Pearce. In this game, not in the stereotype stalemate that some internationals at this stage of a busy season can lapse into. Bilek. Spread around the England setup, of course, is the desire to play for a more permanent part in proceedings. Němeček. Skurabi in the wide position this time. 3 in the centre for him. And he forces the corner, which is the signal for England to drop Hateley back, just to leave Merson out of their own penalty area. And McMenemy and Graham Taylor analysing the events. Seaman with Skurabi, the obstacle for him, no suggestion of a foul. Back by Glonek. It's a good spell for Němeček. Kula. England penalised in the shape of David Rocastle with 5 minutes to go to half-time. Again, it's the cue for Hateley to come and help out at the back. Barnes meeting it, and the ball breaks for Hateley. Merson actually was hoping initially for the ball to be hit over the top, but he readjusted quickly. Hateley strong enough and skillful enough to keep going forward then until he was fouled. Flat looking to let it run, knowing that Hateley was behind him. Czechoslovakia were wise to that. I think the problem regarding Mark Hateley for Graham Taylor is to try and assess just how relevant being successful in the best team in Scotland is, where there are one or two easier games to keep the goal tally going. But it's good to see Haitley and Barnes back in an England squad together. Remember the young Lions of that great win in Brazil in 1984, a long time ago now. Here's Bielik. That's an excellent ball, penetrating, hurting England perhaps into the feet of Skuravi. Němeček. Skuravi falling, but that was no fault of Rocastle's. Clough. Here's Keown. England have played 16 times and won 11 under Graham Taylor. Czechoslovakia have played 16 times under Milan Marcela and won 10. So maybe it's not such a surprise that the two sides do look well matched in what we've seen so far. Rocastle. Merson cropping up on the right this time. That's selling Platt short. I'm sure the England management are keeping an eye on David Rocastle as to whether, when required, he fits in comfortably defending deeper as he has to do now on England's right. But the danger coming through the middle with Kubik and Seaman dropping quickly to stop Kula, restoring Czechoslovakia's lead. It was a ball played into space by Kubik, and Kula got to that space at the time the ball arrived. And if he'd hit it any better, well, England might have been in serious trouble. As it is, it's a corner. Once more, Kubik was the focal point of that. For talent, well, he would be in a world 11, I think. It's his temperament that's always been questioned and his stomach for the fight. Didn't quite fit in Italy with Fiorentina, although he did have some marvellous games there. They got to the UEFA Cup final in his time. Been penalised, Kubik, then, for foot up on Platt. Cut out by Kadlec. Skuravi well forward for Czechoslovakia here. Their mobility evident in midfield again with Bielik. And Němeček, the one who seems to get free with a worrying regularity. Papal. Well, a first half that really has flown by. It didn't start particularly well for England. A much-changed side, 7 alterations by Graham Taylor yet again in his selection. And they went behind to a threat that they knew all about, the heading power of Thomas Skuravi, from a free kick drilled in by Hovernets, and Skuravi just beating Martin Keown to the ball and diverting it in. But Paul Merson, who's had a perky first half here in his first start for England, equalising 7 minutes later. And at half-time in Prague, it is Czechoslovakia 1, England 1.
The Zenith Cup final.
Win. You want to book your tickets. Result from Lansdowne Road a little earlier. Republic of Ireland 2, Switzerland 1. Tommy Coyne and John Aldridge with a penalty after 88 minutes. Ronnie Whelan put through his own net for Switzerland 2-1. Quick word, Ron. Expects better or more from this?
No, I think it's a difficult task for them. I mean, we're trying a new system out, new players in there. I think we should just keep going, pegging away, and find out who's capable of going to Sweden with us and whether the system's going to work for us. I mean, that's what it is after all. It's an experiment.
Let's go back. 1-1. Here's Martin.
Thank you, Richard. Just looking at the England team as they've come out for the second half. Lee Dixon is on. And I can't see David Rocastle, so it looks as though Dixon for Rocastle on the right-hand side. And Paul Stewart will play maybe to add a bit of steel to the centre of the midfield in place of Nigel Clough. So 2 changes by Graham Taylor at half-time. Czechoslovakia just checking round with exactly the same 11. 1-1. On a day when Czechoslovakia are looking perhaps towards the past, rather, in the recall of some stalwarts from Italia 90, like Bilek on the ball here. But England are very much looking to the future. Kubik with a delightful back heel that very nearly freed Knoflicek. Barnes. In some ways, England in the first half trying to take on Czechoslovakia at their own game and maybe use the strengths of continental systems allied to some traditional British values. But there's no doubt that Czechoslovakia had more of the ball in the first 45 minutes. And although England look attractive going forward from midfield, or did with the way the stall was set out in the first half, it must have concerned Graham Taylor and Alan Ball and Laurie McMenemy the number of times that runners from the opponent's midfield took up positions of immense danger. And on the ball for them, Kubik was so often a major force. It's his cross that drops into David Seaman's hands. I think it's fair to say that Lee Dixon a little concerned about his international place. Not involved against France. A substitute for the B team yesterday. Not one that was used. I think we can all feel sure that David Platt there will be in Graham Taylor's plans for Sweden. The manager says he has 15 names pretty much inked in. So 5 places still up for grabs. And Mabbutt is a contender for one of those in the defence for his loyalty. He is always here when he's called upon. This is Kadlec. Barnes cutting off the pass to Němeček that time. Now, can Skurabi reach this? Neither with head nor with outstretched leg. Dixon slipping. The pitch has withstood the recent weather very well indeed. The teams, both sides, were scheduled to train on it yesterday evening, and in fact it was just a token session of a few minutes for each because of the danger of marring the surface. Knoflicek. And Kubik showing that he has got a right foot as well. He was just lurking if the cross, as it did, beat all those in the centre. There's Bilek beating Dixon. Here's Platt. It's Paul Stewart's second England appearance, incidentally. He was a substitute back in September, as was Merson against Germany in the 1-0 defeat. Merson. Skurabi guiding it on for Kula. Němeček, Knoflicek in the middle. Kula's there as well. The ball doesn't arrive though, thanks to Des Walker, whose every international game is closely monitored by the Italian scouts. Hovernets, who whipped the ball in for Skuravi's goal, now will take the corner with less success. Headed back by Kubik. Kadlec. Czechoslovakia don't like to hit too many long balls, even with Skuravi to aim for. Took 2 passes to get the ball to his feet then. Flat. Kadlec close to Merson, and it actually flicked off the Arsenal man. Hovernets. The pressure from Platt, that was why that one went to waste. Kubik, problems for England here. Knoflicek on the ball, Happel up with him. And oh, Siemens lost it! And it hasn't gone in. Sparing considerable embarrassment, the danger not over yet, and it didn't look a particularly difficult ball for David Seaman to try and handle. The angle was against Pavel Happel after Knoflicek had rolled the ball to him here. Well, what went wrong? He was down, he had it, and then he didn't. And it rolled on, and maybe that sawdust helped him. Not quite enough purchase on the ball and not quite enough direction on it for Czechoslovakia in the end. Really would have been a red face for the man in the yellow jersey. But it's still 1-1. Němeček. Czechoslovakia wheel and move again in midfield. Bílek got there before Dixon. This is Kula taking on Walker. Plenty have tried, not many have succeeded. Well, Czechoslovakia have started the second half much better than Graham Taylor's team. And England are going to make another change, and John Barnes moving rather gingerly towards the touchline. Tony Dorigo coming on. Well, one felt that the 2 changes at half-time were tactical, but not this one. And after all he's been through this season, well, Liverpool supporters will be sick to see that. Bílek. Well, Dorigo had 10 minutes or so in the B game yesterday as a substitute. Merson. Skipped away from Bílek. Well, whether it was a shot or a cross, I think, judging by his acknowledgement to Haitley, it was an attempt to involve Mark Haitley in the air. But with Merson, you can't always be sure, because perhaps more than any other English player, he produces the rabbit out of a hat with volleys and first-timers from long range and difficult angles. Knoflicek. Well away from Skuravi to England's relief. Dixon. Kadlec quickly there. Not as old as he looks. Miroslav Kadlec, who's in his mid-20s. Haitley. Now Němeček. Kubik and Skuravi. Some understanding there that left England coming second for a moment until Němeček's ball was cut out by Dorigo. Glonek fancying his chances of taking England on. For Skuravi, Keown holds him up and forces the error, which caused some guffaws amongst the Czech supporters down below us here. Mikloshko's only just back in the West Ham side. He missed 7 games with a torn calf muscle. Very much appreciated, particularly in the promotion year, by the Upton Park faithful. He's been a busy man in the First Division this season. Bilek. We're 10 minutes into the second half. England somewhat fortunate, really, to be at 1-1 here. But with the capacity in the side to come up with another goal. Rigo, so often the understudy of Pearce, now out there alongside him. It's Pearce. He tries again. Now, Haitley can get up now, and he was pushing as he did so. Mark Haitley will point out, quite rightly, that his scoring record is 9 goals for England in 19 starts. 12 times as a substitute, rather dilutes that ratio. And oddly enough, in his last 10 games for England before today, he wasn't once on the winning side. Something that needed checking over and over again to find out that it was exactly true. Bilek. And again, offside. It's not a tactic that England have employed. There's more depth to their defending with the 3-man central defence. Bilek's header. And Keown. Stewart, who played as a striker for Spurs at Anfield, going back to his old job on Saturday and played very well and scored. Also got booked again, which is the downside in his game. Martin Friedek. Czechoslovakia did indicate that they would like to use all their 5 substitutes. England have already employed 3. And there really wasn't the angle for that type of pass. Czechoslovakia have only beaten England twice, once way back in 1934. In 1975 the other time in a crucial European Championship qualifying game in Bratislava. Czechoslovakia went on to become European champions the next year and put England out. Kula. And you begin to feel they might be on their way to a win here. Appel. But to do that, they've got to get the better of Walker.
It's gone off David Seaman-Teal, and Czechoslovakia do lead 2-1. A dreadful goal for England to concede. Povanet bent it in, and it took England by surprise at the near post. Chaos and confusion there, and Czechoslovakia, well, there can't be too many complaints about the justice of the scoreline. They've been running the second half. But I can't recall an England defence unhinged so easily. An embarrassing moment again. Here's Knoflicek. Apple. Skuravi has given it away. 2 up for England.
I apologise if you're having some problems with our sound from Prague. It may well be that one or two of the technicians here have been taken by the same sort of surprise that was evident in England in their own goal area a moment or two ago. Merson, who's repaired the damage once. Ovanets. Knoflicek, amazed at the amount of room that he had to turn. Ovanets again. Here's Blonek. 3 through the centre for Czechoslovakia. Skuravi again making himself available for the ball into feet. And Kubik running in the end into Mabut. Given away by Keown. Dixon. England continue to be outmanoeuvred in midfield. Kubik this time dropping from his usual high standards when it came to releasing the ball. We're 17 minutes into the second half here in Prague. Foul by Dixon. Well, Kubik has to be controlled somehow. He came rather better out of that Derby County affair than did Knoflicek, whose career went on the rocks for a while after that. Kubik, as I said earlier, found himself gainful employment in Italy, and obviously the wealth that went with it. Kadlets. Here's Dorigo. You do feel that Mark Hateley probably has this as his one chance. The next match for England is against the Commonwealth of Independent States, the former Soviet Union, at the end of April. And really after that, the experimentation must be over for Graham Taylor. Still forthcoming fixtures in May against Hungary and Brazil, and then prior to the European finals themselves, away in Finland in June. Merson has improved his chances, that's for sure. But Mark Hateley really hasn't had too much surface. Here's one for him now. He isn't just an aerial giant, but that's undoubtedly a focal point of his game. Bilek. Knoflicek, stopped by Mabert. Merson with a chance to confront Czechoslovakia. And they were aware of the menace in that, as Kubik brought him down. Well, England much changed in the second half. And as yet, not really a force since the break. Pierce battled on. Oh, and a fantastic hit. A goal absolutely out of nothing for England. From Martin Keown, I think it was. Martin Keown got the ball here after great work by Pierce. And he turned, faced the goal and found it. A player who hasn't scored for Everton all season has come up trumps for England in the most spectacular fashion. 2-2. Here's Knoflicek. So the match changes its complexion again, and twice England have been behind, twice they've drawn level. Here's Kubik. Well, at times you might find fault in the football as the players try to come to terms with their manager's belief in the way England should move forward, really. But you cannot find fault with the fighting spirit. Hovernetz with the free kick. Seaman saw it coming that time. He certainly didn't get a clear view of what happened at the corner when England went 2-1 down. Cadlets. Here's Hovernetz. Kula setting off from the left, making the space here for Bilek. Skuravi. And that was Happel. Well, it may not be the most important international in the world. Reputations are at stake rather than trophies to be won here. But it is a rattling good game, and I do hope you're enjoying every kick of the ball here, watching on Sky Sports. And remember, we've still got another game coming up for you this evening. Full coverage, exclusively live, of Scotland against Finland. Hately. Here's Hately again. Tackled by Glonek. Well, some of the enthusiasm has evaporated from Czechoslovakia just for the moment, as if they could hardly believe what had hit them. I don't think deep down Martin Keown can probably hardly believe what's happened. Skuravi. Here's Cadlets trying to reply in kind and doing nothing like that. Well, at a stage where England really had to sort out their problems out there, all the theorising and the talk of tactics tends to just disappear when the match is slipping away and you're 2-1 down. Merson. One thing that Graham Taylor's teams have always done in club management with Lincoln and Watford and Aston Villa, of course, they've always scored goals. And only once, this is his 17th international as England's manager, only that home defeat by Germany, the 1-0 reverse, the only occasion where they haven't found any sort of firepower. He's a great believer in players shooting. And Martin Keown had obviously heeded the instructions, although I can't believe that they were really directed at him. This is Hovernets. England, who conceded 2 goals from set plays. That won't please the manager. Kubik. It ricochets here for Němeček. Now Happel. Oh, Happel will come again. He's lost his footing, and well, it looked as though England could leave David Seaman to scoop the ball up then. But they were taking no chances after what's got on before. Really, you can't blame them. Happel, in trying to change direction, stumbled over his own feet. And Hovernets has gone across to take the corner yet again. This is Bilek. And he's the type of player who's of great use to your side when they're playing well, Michal Bilek. But when it comes to a battle, they're not quite so sure about him, and a battle it's going to be now that's going to be joined by England's not-so-secret weapon.
6.
Dixon. That might reach Hateley. It does. Dorigo! Very good handling. There was an offside in any case. Mikloško held on to the ball and challenge there from Stewart, who was offside. Stewart had a bit of a wave at the ball with his left foot after Mikloško had clearly held it. Now it's Mabbutt who's come off. I hardly need to tell you who's come on, but it's Gary Lineker, who's been describing himself now as the Roger Miller of the England party. He reckons he can play forever. Just coming on for bits and pieces here and there from the bench. Recovering from a very bad sore throat. And of course, fresh in our memories how he came on against France. Němeček. And again, to hit Keown forcefully. Hateley. Mersner's come back into midfield with a role on the right-hand side. Dorigo playing on the left, Platt and Stewart in the middle, Lineker and Hateley up front. And this is more the way they're used to playing, of course, with their clubs. But talking to a number of the England party yesterday, they were saying how enjoyable international football is, not just for the prestige, but really for the satisfaction out on the pitch. Gary Lineker saying it's just a thrill to lose a marker, really, and he's trying to lose his markers here. It's a game that's played in the mind as well as with the feet. Ron Atkinson back in our London studio. A great deal to talk about in the second half.
Yes, I mean, two very, very strange goals. I mean, the Czech goal, after all, they played very, very well at that stage. They were knocking the ball about, looking as if they're going to take England apart. And then they get what can only be described as, the flukiest of goals. I mean, obviously, David Seaman's not going to be terribly happy with it, but that's the way it goes. And then Martin Keown goes and just blasts one in out of nothing at the other end when England looked sort of dead and buried. I mean, now there looks a bit of verve about the England, though, in the last few minutes, obviously, from that goal. But honestly, prior to that, Martin, it didn't look as if they knew really where they were going. They looked as if they were just waiting for the final whistle. But I think it does look from here as if the Czechs actually 2-1 up, took the foot off the pedal a little bit, and, you know, in any walk of life, in any football, you can't do that.
Well, England might be in trouble now, but Happel, as the ball came off David Seaman's collision with Skurabi, he was just too deliberate that time. The defending has not quite been up to scratch for England, and Walker was nudged by Skurabi. The referee's seen it. The Austrian official has played his part in what has been a most open game. Dixon, wasn't a great ball from Merson. As Kubik, who launched himself at it from Czechoslovakia's point of view, knocked back by Walker. As we look again at the incident that gave Happel a sight of England's goal. Bilek. We're into the last 15 minutes, and the game really up for grabs. Hasn't been quite as even as Ron was saying, as the scoreline suggests, but England have stuck to it. And two of the new breed have scored here. Paul Merson with the first equaliser, Martin Keown with the second. On both occasions, at times where the game was slipping very much from England's grasp. Happel, now Němeček. Back with Kubik. Slips past Stewart. That was Dixon's header. Now Bilek. Merson, confusion with Dorigo. Havanet's going in. He'd been orchestrating that attack rather than Kubik. Kubik had filled in sensibly in the centre of the defence. They just changed it momentarily. They naturally have the flexibility that England are seeking. That's the way they're brought up to play. They don't always have the power. They're not known as a country that can cope really with the physical demands of a robust game or a long tournament, although they've twice got to the very final of the World Cup back in the 30s and in 1962. A lot of the stronger athletes in Czechoslovakia end up as stars at ice hockey, which really is a #1 sport. And it's on the front pages of all the sports papers here today. But this will make a headline or two tomorrow. Dixon. Now Walker. Lineker. That's Platt, and it came off Němeček. Lineker made up the ground very quickly. Football is so much a game of habit, and you just wonder whether Graham Taylor will be able to change the habits while our clubs continue to play a certain way. Bilek. They've got to Skurabi. Can they support him? In fact, in the end, he wasn't looking for support. He drove his shot against Keown, who's had his difficulties with Thomas Skurabi, and won't be too pleased that he allowed Skurabi to score, although it was a high-class deflection. But he's had his say at the other end, and Skurabi was nowhere to be seen. Merson. Kubik is coping. England sticking at it. Can they really come strong now and turn it all into a victory? Hately. It's Bilek. Fiona Skuravi's back, not needing to overcommit himself there. Němeček. Skuravi again. 3 ahead of him, wearing red this time. It's not usual. Knoflicek. Hovnets. Now Bilek. England have left Lineker and Haitley upfield. This is Knoflicek. Oh, and a free kick against Dixon. Now this is alarming for England. It's a measure really of the seriousness of Czechoslovakia. Having talked about making substitutions, they haven't as yet done that. They've seen the opportunity here with their starting 11 to get a rare victory over England. Now David Seaman will have thoughts, I'm sure, flashing through his mind about Kubik and his power of curling the ball. Kubik, who beat Seaman, remember, at Wembley back in April 1990. But his shot on that occasion came from the other side of the D. More favours the right footer here, and Bilek is the player who takes it. The referee has blown, and I think Czechoslovakia are going to have another go at this. Two, 9 minutes to go. Will it be Bilek the second time? It is, and it very nearly got over the wall. Now it deflects behind off Pearce. England have spent more of the match defending than attacking. And Czechoslovakia are actually trying to make a change. And it's the captain who's coming off. Němeček to be replaced by Němec. So their first change with 8 minutes to go. Němec coming on at a corner. And Seaman a little uncertain again, but able to deal with the ball as it was drilled back at him by Hovnets. It's been quite a return after his lengthy absence. Hovnets, incidentally, any English clubs or British clubs are interested, is a free agent in the summer. He has negotiated his release from PSV Eindhoven, but he is 32. Here he is on the ball. He's used in the World Cup as a midfield player, but his natural preference is to be the free man at the back. He takes a mean free kick and an intriguing corner, as we've seen. Cadlets. And Dixon, I'm not sure that the ball went then across the line. The linesman flagged, that's all that matters. Header from Glonek. That's a bad ball by Kubik. There haven't been too many of them. Well, we understand that you've lost pictures momentarily, we hope, from Prague. I'll continue in sound only for you. Kubik on the ball in the centre of his own half. And now Hovnets taking over. England just happy to back off and look to defend when the ball crosses the halfway line. It's been switched to the far right to the substitute Němec. Happel down the line ahead of him. And Walker's speed on the edge of his own area coming to England's rescue. Centre field now with Bilek for Czechoslovakia. Kula on this near side. Some 35 yards from David Seaman's goal. It's laid off by Skuravi, and Lee Dixon covering back into the centre. Gets the ball back to David Seaman. As England build forward now with Lineker. Running into Bilek. 5 minutes to go, and no sign that either side is settling here for an honourable exchange of 2 goals apiece. The ball played forward by Hovernets onto the halfway line, where Nemec is shrugged off the ball by Platt. It breaks though for Czechoslovakia again, and Bilek, who looks to get it to the feet of Skuravi, and Martin Keown trying to be vigilant. In fact, has overstepped it this time, and he's going to get a yellow card for coming through Skuravi from behind. The foul taking place just 10 yards inside the England half. And the referee has, again, we apologise to you for our loss of pictures from Prague. There's a second change being made by Czechoslovakia at the stoppage for the free kick. And Kula has come off, and the number 14, Martin Friedek, has taken his place. The game will restart with a free kick to Czechoslovakia. Skuravi, trying to be the scourge of England one more time, has got himself back on his feet and is standing on the edge of the area. The position pretty central as Hovernets takes it. And Skuravi trying to guide it down. Some strong work by Platt on the edge of his own penalty area. The layoff by Lineker. And then Paul Stewart involved as well, as England now in danger of trying to keep the ball a little riskily in their own half. It's not danger that has really manifested itself, because Stewart was fouled. And England will have a free kick, which Stuart Pearce will propel lengthily forward, trying to find Mark Hateley. And the ball runs out of play beyond Hateley on the far side. A throw-in taken by Nemec. Skuravi losing out. It's another throw to Czechoslovakia. All the work going on football-wise on the far side of the pitch. And on the near side, a procession of replacements by Czechoslovakia. And they're going to give a first international outing, though be it a very brief one, for Horst Siegel of Sparta Prague. The difficulties that we're having with our pictures, I'm afraid, are stemming coming out of Czechoslovakia. The vision going missing somewhere in Central Europe. And England hoping to not go missing defensively at the moment. They've had to concede a corner. Keown cutting out across from Nemec. And England maybe with one more crisis to try and survive here, with the match moving into its last 2 minutes. Better defending at the near post from the corner. Dorigo, who was in that area, and I believe somewhat shakily. You're getting pictures back again now. And I can assure you, you have missed absolutely nothing of major significance. Just for the records, the booking of Martin Keown on the day when he collected his first international goal at a crucial time for his country. Keown, whose parents come from Ireland, he's qualified to play for the North and the South, but at youth level chose England. He said to me yesterday, you're never quite sure, but I bet he believes he's made the right decision now. Hateley. No international away from home is ever going to be straightforward. And England close to having survived here in Prague, having survived considerable difficulties. But it looks as though they're going to go home without being beaten. The Austrian referee brings an engaging game to a halt. 2-2. Twice Czechoslovakia took the lead. Thomas Skuravi with an expected style of goal in the first half, and then a chaotic one from England's point of view when the corner from Hovernets got through, and we're looking now at a reprise of the goals and Skuravi's to make it 1-0 from the ball in from Hovernets. But that really produced a good spell from England in response to that. And David Platt, a major force in the equaliser. Although Czechoslovakia, if we talk about defensive shortcomings, won't be pleased. Kadlec knocked the ball there towards Kula. Neither could claim it. Merson did and claimed his first goal for England. But what followed in the second half were two goals of a very surprising nature. Merson's shot, well, Mikloško got to it quite solidly as well, but it ran on happily for England. This wasn't so happy. Seaman had the last touch. Hovernets getting all the congratulations as it came through the pack there. Tony Dorigo by the near post as well. It was a real mess from England's point of view, and it looked downhill all the way from then until Martin Keown took over the scene, and that really was a wonderful moment to bring the smile back to English faces on a very...